we laugh.
Yo, Hearts gang.
I hate that, dude. Fuck it,
Change it.
We gotta start over now. Whatever.
Clap us
dude.
in again,
All
dude.
right. No, we can keep it. We hate it. It's awful. Oh, fuck. All right, Benny. Lauren, go get your husband.
Nah, she doesn't want anything to do with me.
Yeah, I don't. Neither do I. How's it going, guys? What's going on?
It's going.
What
good.
up?
Oh, you know what I want to do with Benny's fermented carrots, bro.
Oh, yeah. I showed Jesse and Travis a bunch of videos of my ferments. Because I'm a
It's
ferment
so
master.
lit.
But everything's going good over here in my world. Dude, I had a busy weekend. Went to a memorial. I kind of showed up for like a little memorial service kind of thing. Unfortunately, Tottenham lost the final. In the Champions League.
Let's go Reds. Hey. So lit, dude.
Dude, we're gonna have to throw hands. Dude, if you keep on
Oh,
coming at me
damn,
like
bro.
that, dude. So I was bummed about.
I don't want them hands, bro.
Make jokes.
I was bummed about. Oh, you don't like soccer? You'll be one of those guys.
I literally didn't know.
Yeah, we had no
what you
clue
guys
what the
were
fuck you were
about.
talking about.
The
Yes,
sports?
right.
Soccer?
Liverpool.
All right. So-
And then
Champions League, baby.
and then one of the biggest upsets in boxing history happened this weekend with Andy Ruiz Jr.
He's gonna
and
get
Anthony
fucked up
Joshua.
by
Dude, you don't even know what you're talking about.
No, everybody knows. Deontay Wilder would have fucked both of them up. Now he's gonna fuck that fat guy up. But it's fine. Good for him.
Yo,
honestly.
one thing that I'm confused about is why does the heavyweight have 4 belts?
Well, because
Like, why don't just make it one?
No,
Like, you just take the 4 and just
There's
make it
different
into one.
leagues.
they're different leagues. They're
So you
different
just
divisions
transfer
and
4
everything.
belts to someone else?
I guess so. It's like when you
does he get-
transfer a
does he
crown.
get all
He
4?
got all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he got all 4
Too
belts.
many?
Yeah. 3 too many belts. What are you going to do with all of them?
I don't know, dude. Flaunt them around, wear them. You show up to places with your belts, dude. You know, those are your belts, son. You earned it. But I was stoked, dude. I was watching it here at home, and
Yeah.
I was jumping all over the apartment when
All
the
of a
rest
sudden,
stopped.
Benny's
Oh no!
he's a boxing analyst. Benny's like, did you
dude.
watch the fight?
Oh my
After his
gosh.
first fight, he's asking me, like, you check it out, dude? Like,
So
you see?
lame,
Send me
dude.
highlights.
So
I'm like,
lame.
you don't.
No,
All right,
dude.
dude.
Okay, so first of
right.
all, because I showed you who was fighting, and you looked at Andy Ruiz Jr., who's doesn't look like he's in shape, and you go, oh him? Oh no, he's getting knocked out. You had no hope for this guy,
Sure did.
and he won. So you got faced. Other than that, though, so my weekend.
Silence.
So other than that though, weekend was good. Sunday. Which by the way, Sunday we recorded an episode of Hearts and Minds Collective, and we
subscribe.
absolutely. And so we just started that back up. We have an episode that just went up with Mike Murray and Rich Williams.
Hey.
So check that out. It's up on iTunes and Spotify. And with that podcast, we are working on getting it up on a lot more platforms just like this one. So check that one out, like and subscribe to it. And so we're really pushing that one hard, and we're getting some really awesome
We got some
people
really
in.
fucking cool people.
Dude,
in there, man.
it's a lot of fun. It's been really, really cool to meet, to continue to meet people and learn and stuff. I really enjoy doing that one.
Yeah.
So that one, keep an eye out or an ear also for that one. So we're gonna start pushing those out as well.
Cool.
And that was pretty much my weekend. And
Nice.
today, dude, got some training in. You know,
He's
some
a boxer
people,
now.
some people cut these hands, son.
Hey, what?
I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah.
we just did some conditioning, some bag work, and then
Hear how
some
he
pad work
talks
and
now?
stuff.
Yeah,
Who the
dude.
fuck
That's
do you
right,
think you are?
So
That's right.
technical.
Who the fuck do you think
Dude, straight
you
up fit gang fool, you know what I'm saying, dog?
Benny like had this whole transformation. Now he's just reverting back to his like
Oh,
gangster
dude,
ways.
yo, no. So straight up though, when we did that podcast with Mike Murray and Rich Williams, dude,
Get you
like,
fired up.
woo,
Honestly. If
dude.
someone listens to that podcast and doesn't want to work out, you're not ever gonna get it.
no, dude,
It's never gonna.
I
make
was just
sense.
like, yo, we're getting it in, and like the next day, dude,
Yeah,
the next day, I was
I,
like,
I had one of
even-
my best training sessions in months after that podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so I need to do something different.
dude, it was lit, and he's
He's
so
jacked.
jacked.
Both of them are.
They are.
Rich is 50, bro.
Yeah, and there's
My
just
dad's age.
so jacked,
Yeah.
like, whew. Are you good?
You need a napkin?
Yeah, dude.
No,
What's going
dude,
on?
All
over
right,
there?
just-
all right, Jesse.
Anyway.
What's going on, dude? How's it going, Jesse?
Fucking
I can't see
A,
you,
bro.
but
I don't know. I was
I know
getting a
you're
half
here.
chub listening to Benny
can
describe
you?
these men.
This is my arm. This is where my arm goes. You can hold my hand, like,
Do it,
fuck.
dude.
Fucking
Do
hell,
it.
man. Yeah, so Liverpool won, and it was the
Lame.
greatest thing of all sports entertainment history. Yeah, I had a good weekend, man. I had like a 17-hour day, bro, Saturday.
Yeah, he didn't sound good.
What?
You didn't.
Oh, you didn't
sound
sound-
like,
yeah.
You didn't sound like yourself.
Dude, I like left my house at like 5:30 in the morning, didn't get home till 10 p.m. But
Making fat stacks though.
OT and double time, so that's gonna be nice. Yeah, Eric, I told Eric about my weekend, and he's like, yeah, so when are you gonna buy something for yourself?
Yeah, dude.
You know?
don't have any kids. You don't have a girlfriend. Do nice stuff.
Yeah, and
Dude.
it's cool because I've been like checking my bank account, and it's like
Looks like you need a new
racks.
pair of
it's
jeans though,
growing.
dog.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's the thing is I donated all my shit
going
to
tomorrow.
Goodwill,
We're going tomorrow.
and like I have like no clothes now.
Dude,
So I
Buy
get to
some
treat
hair, bro.
myself.
Oh,
Bro.
that's fucked up, dude. You're not supposed to talk about that.
Hey,
thing.
Trav, how about you try to grow a beard?
not happening.
Okay. Fucking hey, dude. But Sunday was cool. Me and Trav went fishing. We caught some like little mackerels
by
and
the
shit.
way, dude, I saw that and I have to say, what the fuck?
You don't want to take Benny. He slows you the fuck down. when I fish by myself, I catch 1,000 fish. When I
That's so
fish with
stupid,
Benny, I
dude.
catch like
that's a lot.
Literally,
Only 100
literally every cast, I was like thinking about you. I was trying to like channel your spirit into me catching more fish.
I was like, I saw your story and I was like, what? I was like, excuse.
I had to get my feet wet before I went with a real professional.
I'll put you on some fish. Dude. I'll put you on some fish that put up a fight.
honestly,
No,
dude, it's
shut
not a
up,
skill, dude.
It's dude.
You put a hook in the water and either it bites it or it doesn't.
Dude, it's a skill.
I'm just kidding.
So anyway,
I just
all right,
like
so-
shitting all over his thing.
Whatever, dude. Your biceps aren't even that big.
Whatever.
Yeah, checks out. But yeah, so besides that, I'm like working myself out of a little funk that I was in. But I'm feeling really good today, man. It's just like switching that focus into positive things. It's really all it takes, And I was talking to Eric about this. Like sometimes I like to just like for a couple days, just kind of sit in it for a little bit, and then I'm like, oh yeah, wait, like I have power over this situation.
There's always action to be taken.
It's like I can just switch my focus, start taking action, get excited about, the things that I'm grateful for, and boom.
Yeah.
Switch it up, So I'm feeling really good. I'm really grateful to be here with you guys.
Awesome. What's good, Trav? Trav.
Um,
Oh, by the way, Travis is going to be with us every week now. We just didn't even mention that. So Travis is with us every week. We did that dope-ass podcast a couple weeks ago. Everybody loved it. His energy's dope. He's super wise for such a young man. So and again, he's another friend of ours. It's not like we're bringing in ringers. These are just dope humans that happen to be around us, and I'm just happy to have.
He's not my friend.
Yeah,
not anymore.
He talks hella shit about you when you're not around, but we make it work for the podcast. But yeah, we're happy to have him, man. It's welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, dude. This week I got 2 years. I got 2 years sober.
Hey,
yeah.
dude,
Oh, man.
congratulations.
I like the humility, bro.
Yeah, that
I
was-
like that.
That was super cool, and it wasn't super like a big deal, which I was pretty stoked on. I was stoked that I didn't like when I first got a year of sobriety. I was like, oh fuck, it felt like Christmas, like coming up to Christmas, and you like think about it, and then can't stop thinking about it, and you can't sleep. This one I was like, just another day.
It just becomes another thing you do, but you know what happens? You always get weird around that time. Me and Jesse talk. There's always like a weird, like the world becomes weird to you around the time for no real. Hold on. For no real reason, but like I start getting squirrely is the thing people say.
Yeah.
And that happens, but otherwise it's like, yeah,
Yeah, when me and Jesse went fishing, it was more of like a realization that I need to buckle down and like where am I lacking and where can I pick up some slack in my life, and that was really good. I've been getting in a little deeper into meditation this week.
Let's go.
That's been super cool, especially at my work environment where we have a meditation room and I don't meditate. I'm just like, man, I have this really cool resource that I'm not utilizing. We have like Alexa in there. You can be like, hey, Alexa, play meditation music, or do the sound bowls and like sage it and do the infrared lights and do all this extra stuff. And I never do it. So my CEO has been like every morning at 8:30 we do a 30-minute meditation or 15-minute meditation. It's been good, man. It's been really good to actually get into meditation and get into action, because I notice how much more my life slows down, and it's good, man. I love meditating.
It's the missing piece, man. And it's what's frustrating about it for myself is when you tell other people that we intellectualize it, right? We make it this fucking thing that we're doing.
What?
Oh, you make it. We make sorry, fucking awkward stuff. We make. All right, guys. We make meditating this like fucking big deal where we have to intellectualize it. Like, people very often say like, I can't do it. I can't find myself to do it. And literally, whether it's 1 minute or 30 minutes or an hour and plus, all you're doing is focusing on your breathing and trying to keep your mind clear. And when you do wander in thought, you just simply redirect your focus.
That's the hardest part for me is being acceptable with not being good at it. I mean, if I know that's not a thing. There's no not good at it. But me, it's like, oh, God damn it. I've been thinking for 5 minutes about bullshit.
Well, that's the box you put it in. For me, there's sometimes when I meditate where I'm just like organizing my life. I literally do nothing. I shut everything down. Phone is somewhere else, or I just shut everything down. And sometimes I'm just, I used the example yesterday, like Minority Report, like my brain's an iPad and I'm just shifting through the apps, trying to like organize what needs to be done that day. There's sometimes it's like that. And there's sometimes where I just forget that I'm even in the universe, and I just lose complete track of time. And when my timer goes off, I was like, it just felt like 30 seconds. Those are cool time, but there's a time and a place for both. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with your practice. It is what it is at that moment. It's the art of being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't put pressure on it.
100%. And whether I do it and it's that experience of timelessness and not being in the universe, just emptiness, or it's thinking and like not purposefully thinking, but like either way it's good. Either way I come out feeling better. Yeah. Either way it's a step in the right direction, and it's great, man, and I love it.
Before I talk to one person in the morning before I meditate, and I have a 5 a.m. client. Very often I meditate before him, but I always meditate after him, before I talk to my partner, before I make a video, before I post anywhere. Because for me, I want to make sure all my interactions, or most of my interactions, are coming from that center. Mm-hmm. Coming from that center, it's like this: before I interact with the world or interface with the world, I need to make sure I'm aligned. And sometimes for me, I need to really set an intention for the day. Not always. Sometimes I could just go and like, I'm going to do the right thing either way. But there's a lot of times where I need to get aligned with myself. I'm like, okay, I want to do things purposefully. I don't want to just live my life, blindly. I want to, sort some purpose out. And I really enjoy it. I take pride in it. It's like once you start anything and you're doing it every day, when you miss a day, you're like, oh fuck, I broke the like streak. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It becomes like a cool competition with yourself, where it's like, all right, I need to get it in no matter what. And take 10 minutes, dude, and go into a float tank.
I've done it.
I need to do this float tank shit,
yeah,
bro. I've been like not sleeping on this float tank.
Scary. That's what it saved my life, dude. When I was in my depression, I was getting acupuncture on a regular basis, and I was floating. At that point, I was like floating 3 days a week for an hour plus. Fuck. But that introduced me to meditation, and what it also taught me is I have visual meditations where I can see stuff. And once I was able to do that and have like a psychedelic experience meditating, I was like, oh, this shit is cool.
Have you ever done a float tank, Benny?
No, I haven't.
When I did it, I felt like I got seasick. Like just sitting there, it's so trippy. I did it downtown. It's like you get in this. It's almost like a gun safe. Like
it's like a gun safe.
It's probably like 5-inch thick steel walls.
Yeah.
And you get in, you don't see anything.
I love it.
And
I haven't
there.
floated in a while.
Dude, I need to fucking do this
Dude,
shit, bro.
Jesse,
I'm like getting excited about this right now.
Next week, I'll come home early on Sunday and I'll float with you.
We can go this
Let's
weekend.
Float, bro.
And you can go to Float San Diego. Tell them you tell them you listen to Joe Rogan, they give you $11 off.
Oh, dude,
so it goes to $29 for an hour.
Wow.
Which
dude,
is
let's
plenty
get
of
floaty,
time,
bro.
dude.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, that's what introduced me to meditation. Is floating. It made me understand. I've actually had a few different experiences, but so I had a meditation coach who taught, took me through guided meditations, and I did like a spiritual initiation with her, and I meditated with her for an hour and like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And with no guided nothing, just sitting in a chair and full on visual painted a picture in my mind for an hour and 30 minutes. But I was only able to do that once in a while. Then I started floating, and I would do that 3 days a week. And then that all led to now being able to do it every day.
Yeah.
It expedites the process, the float tank.
One of my coworkers, I'm like, what'd you do this weekend? He's like, Saturday was pretty chill. And then Sunday I meditated for 8 hours. He just like sits in this room. He has this huge house, and he sits in this room on this little meditation pad and just sits there, like with his back straight, nothing to support him, just sits there and meditates.
It's kind of awesome. It's kind of like, whoa, he's got some demons.
I couldn't.
I want to see his browser history.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine
Dark.
doing that. I would be
it's a long
like
time.
over it.
Yeah,
Over it.
Yeah.
I'd be thumb wrestling myself, dude.
We did a podcast with my meditation coach, and she meditates 2 hours every day. That's what she does, and it's a long time. I meditate for 10 to 30 minutes. That's it. Mostly 10.
That's it.
Because I do it but I don't feel the need to do extra. But honestly, anything where you practice your discipline, whether that be for him once a week meditating for 8 hours, if that's his discipline, then that's awesome. We all need a discipline, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So what about you, man?
I'm
We
really
had
good.
Checked in with everyone else.
I've been super emotional, man. Like, I've cried, and I don't cry. Like, and there's nothing wrong with crying. No, listen, there's nothing wrong with crying. I've wanted to over the years since I stopped, shooting dope, because it's when I was using, I cried all the time. I'm a drunk that gets really emotional, and I would fucking be crazy. So I just haven't cried in years, and then finally I really believe it's due to meditation. Is I'm in touch with my real emotions at this point. I'm very vulnerable. I'm not hiding myself from like clothes or women or money. I'm not hiding from myself. So Friday, and this goes into what I want to talk about today. We have these stories, or I have this story that I've told myself, and the kids I grew up with told me about myself, and my parents unintentionally told me about myself. And for the most part, that doesn't faze me anymore, because I'm a firm believer. There's no time to feel like shit about yourself. You feel it, like me and Jesse talked about yesterday. You feel it for a couple of days. You feel it, and then you move on. You move forward, because if there's something you don't like about your life, you have the power to change it. Obviously, not everything, but you have the power to change the way you view it. But Friday, I just felt like a fucking loser. I was like, yeah, it was just in the back of my head, and it hurt me because I'm not used to feeling like that anymore. But sometimes, when I look at people, sometimes you're like, oh, you're just 5 year old. Like, especially now that I have kids, it's like, oh, you're just a kid, just tall. You know what I mean? Like, you ever talk to someone and be like, oh, you just want love, right? And I had that moment where I was like, I just want my parents' approval when it comes down to it. If I ask myself really, really, like, if you strip things away, I want my parents to be proud of me. And I felt like that, and I felt like I was failing, and I just felt like shit. And then Saturday, it creeped in a little bit, but I was pretty good about it. But today I cried as well watching this documentary, and I'm just really, tears are flowing, and not in a like a sad way. Just, I don't know.
I love crying, dude.
Do you?
I love it, dude. I think crying might be my new drugs, dude. I love crying.
Do you really?
Love it. Dude, there's no better, like, just raw, like, emotion than crying, dude. Like, I'll be, like, on Facebook scrolling through some video and, like scrolling through the videos and see, like, a dog, like, getting reunited with his owner. Next thing you know, I'm crying, dude. Like, dude, because it's just, like, I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
I love crying.
Yeah, I'm new to it. I feel like when I was high, I cried all the time. I was in such despair all the time. Like, looking in the mirror, I would cry, and then I'd be dope sick and crying, and I was just always sad. And so now when I got sober, I was like, I decided I'm not doing that anymore. And even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Like, I would well up a little bit. But there's times I wanted to cry, and I would try to cry. I would make like a cry face, and nothing would fucking happen. I was like forcing it, and it's not happening. So I kind of just like, fuck it, I'm just not gonna cry. But from Friday, until today watching this documentary, I was like, tears. And I don't bawl, but it running down my face.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
How did it feel though?
Honestly, my level, because of meditation, my level of empathy is much greater. So I felt all of it, and it felt good. And watching the documentary, I called my mom right after.
Well, it was a docu-series.
Docu-series.
Like a bioflick.
Yeah.
You want to talk?
No,
we're
going to get into. No, I don't want to jump right all up in.
Do you ever cry like out of a space of gratitude?
No, you know what I do? Do you remember?
I tear up. Do
you remember? Actually, during worship one time, I was worshiping one time, doing my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this weekend, and tears. No,
this weekend,
this Saturday, and tears come down. And you know what? I realized, and I used to work with this pastor's son, and you see other people when the people scream to God and they're like, or to some spiritual thing, they reach out because they need something. Now, when I feel some sort of spiritual thing, it's because I'm happy. It's like I'm fucking stoked. So I had tears like that this weekend. At one point where I was like relieved that I was alive and in some sort of spiritual space. So yeah, I didn't cry out of gratitude, but I cried out of like spiritual connectedness.
Mine's a lot in my car when I'm like just alone, just driving. I feel like I'm so disconnected. I'm just like going through the motions, but like I'll reflect on my life, what I have, the relationships I have, and sometimes I'll just be like, man, I'm so lucky. And like next thing you know, I'm like just tears running down my face, just driving my truck down the road.
Remember The Pursuit of Happiness? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
You remember when he's walking and he got the job and he's fucking clapping like that? I get those. I get those when like some shit, when a deal goes through in my business, I'm like, I get fired up, dude. And I'm super grateful that I'm able to make money doing what I like to do. And that gets me like, I don't cry, but I'm like, I outwardly express my joy in that moment, not because of the money that came in, obviously that's got to pay the bills, but because I got that, I'm getting money to do what I like and what I've created for myself. And that is like, I can't put a price on that,
I think those moments of gratitude is like why we do what we do,
Yeah.
Like for me, like in the car, a lot of happens to me, but like just in life, like I'll just have this like fucking flash of gratitude and I'm just like, dude, this is sick. Like if I could just like bottle this up and like make it like a thing and just like drink this gratitude.
Yeah. I wish you could. We talk about that all the time. Me and Benny do, at least. We talk about, I wish we can bottle up some of the things that we feel as people in our situation and give them to other people, because we have perspective. That's what it comes down to. Like, we have such a shit place that we come from that we're just stoked about everything. Doing a podcast, people are like, yeah, you do a podcast. I'm like, no, dude, we podcast, bro. And they're like, yeah, man. But it's like, I'm a junkie, dude. I'm not. And so I have moments where I'm just like super grateful just because I'm happy to be here. And I wish you could bottle that up, and be like, give people perspective, because life is here. It's genuinely not that bad. Some people it's super bad, but for the most part, if you live in San Diego and you have the ability to go to the beach at any point, is life really that bad? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
So, but watching. So Benny and I both watched this docu-series this week, and the way I tied this into tied to me to my damaged personal truths. So like I have this story. We have these stories. Society feeds us, and our families feed us, and our friends or people who we thought were our friends, they feed us, and they creep in, and everybody has that like imposter syndrome. At least when you my brother, I'm sure when you graduate law school, or my parents or people when they graduate school, they have this experience where they're like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, who do I think I am almost, And I have that sometimes. And sometimes there's a voice in the back of my head that says like, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, who do you think you are? Or you're, just negative self-talk. And so I felt that this weekend. And then I watched this docuseries. It was the one, what's it called, Benny?
When They See Us.
It's about the five young African Americans.
It's called, they were called the Central Park Five.
The Central Park Five. They were accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. They were between 14 and 16 years old. They were questioned without their parents, and this one detective was hell-bent because there was a rape problem in the city at that time. And so this one woman was hell-bent on finding a perpetrator for these. So they shifted this timeline and they bend it because a gang of black kids were running through the park, and they just were hell-bent on pinning it on these kids. And these kids ended up getting convicted of rape. They had to register as sex offenders when they came out. Their siblings died while they were in jail. Fucking, it just was terrible, and their lives were ruined. But it made me think of how the city of New York backed them, and supported, not the black community didn't, but people so firmly believed that these kids were animals. They intrinsically believed that they were animals. And what it made me think was, what does that teach other black kids about themselves and their damaged personal truth, and my damaged personal truth as an African American?
Because that was the vernacular that they were using. They just, when they would describe like what happened to this woman or the events that occurred, like these animals did this, they ravaged her, they left her for dead, no remorse or no conscience or no nothing, like
completely dehumanized these.
Yeah, so that's
children,
exactly what they did.
Children,
is that like
these children,
these are 14.
Yeah,
dude, when you were 14,
I was riding around my bike, like,
you're a kid.
Were they proven innocent? Okay.
Oh, after 15 years,
wow.
dude.
Yeah.
They lived with one of the kids was just terrorized in jail, and he was a little. I think
he was 16.
They portrayed him as he had trouble reading. He was just. These were not street kids. These were regular. One kid played the trumpet. The other kid was an honor roll student.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just kids. And this one guy he was just like beat down in jail,
stabbed like 60 times or something like that.
So these kids were forever altered. But where that ties into our damaged personal truths is I talk about the Chinese water torture of what we're fed, not only as African Americans but as addicts, as men. We're getting this thing dripped on us, like the things that we're taught about ourselves, whether it be from society or our families. Benny often tells me that his family doesn't think he's a chef. They doubt his.
Yeah, I like. It's weird, like having like do anything. Let me tie this in this way. At this memorial thing, I was walking back to my car with my mom, and my mom is super supportive of everything that I do now. Right, she's really supportive. And like, dude, I am absolutely so thankful for that now, because like that's what you want your parents to support you, right? Like if one of your two kids came to you and wanted to be something, you wouldn't shit on them, right?
Dude.
You would support them. So I'm having this conversation, and she asked me, she's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, like I've just been really busy right now. Like I'm working on a lot of things. I'm trying to make a lot of things work, and here's where it came, dude, of what you're saying, of like the story or the things that we tell ourselves. I'm like, I was like, I'm trying to build something right now. I'm a high school dropout. I'm a college dropout. I'm a this and a this, and I'm like, and for someone who has this, I'm really trying to make these things work. And she goes, you know what? She's like, just slow it down a little bit.
That's what my mom says to me.
She's like, I know it was really hard for you, with your dad, who told you like, that nothing was ever good enough for him, and like, all these other things, like where it really stems from, right? Like she knows where it all stemmed from, and she's able, like, she recognizes it and acknowledges it, which is also really awesome, right? And she like basically just broke it down and was saying like, just, you need to break that thing that you've believed about yourself for so long. And she's like, look, you have a career, you're married, you are like living a pretty comfortable life, like you are successful, right? Like you are successful, you're fine. She's like, just enjoy this time while you can, and like try, find that balance, because you're just going to work yourself into death and just be tired, and you're not going to enjoy the life that you have right now. And it was really nice to hear that. And she was right. And I think like that conversation came at the perfect time, because we're talking about this now. Because like literally, dude, since I was a kid, I couldn't do anything right ever. And I remember getting into a fight with my dad one time, like an actual fist fight over, so I don't even remember what it was about. And my mom separated us. And she like asked him, and she said, "Is he ever gonna do anything that's ever good enough for you?" And he said no. And that was the moment, dude, that like I just fucking gave up.
And that's that seed.
I was 16 years old at that time.
And that seed grows in you.
Yeah. And then you water that seed.
Exactly. By doing drugs. I'm a firm believer that, of course, we talk about nature versus nurture with substance abuse, and of course there's the biological factor, but the thought process that goes into perpetuating a life of destruction, and not even fucking drug abuse, being a workaholic and being shitty to your kids, cheating on your wife, and all these things, these maladaptive behaviors that we participate in that don't bring our lives into a positive space. They bring our lives into a more chaotic space. Those things you're perpetuating a thought process and a belief about yourself, whether it's conscious or subconscious. I don't think people really tie that together. That there's because for me, if I believed now that I believe something different about myself, the things that I try to accomplish and the reach I have in my life is way different now that I believe something different. But a lot of people, they don't. I feel like a lot of people may not reach their entire potential and get to where they like to be if they don't fully believe in what they're trying to do. So that story we tell ourselves permeates our entire lives, and not everybody feels it all the time.
Mm-mm.
But I think people have it. People have it more than they admit.
I think it's I think for me, for a long time, it was subconscious, and I think it's I'm not a fucking doctor, you know what I mean, but like I think when you're a kid, like whatever you interpret of the world around you, that gets stored like in your subconscious. It's part of your subconscious programming. And for me, I relate to Benny, like, the low self-worth, like nothing's ever good enough, like story. And I think how that led into like my adult life is like, I was always afraid to fail. Like I was always afraid to try something and fail. So I kept myself inside of this like box. It's like box of like, I'm just going to do what I'm good at, because I know intrinsically that I'm good at it. So I'm just going to keep it in that thing. And it's not beneficial for my creative side. It's not beneficial for me really stretching myself because, I just do what I'm good at. I do what I'm always good at. And then I get what I've always gotten, and driving over here today, I was like, I had this conversation with my friend who's just out living life, dude. He's out in like Vietnam, like just like living life, just traveling. And I was having a conversation with him about like video games, and he said he like was playing a lot of video games and he just stopped, and now he's like playing guitar and like doing all this like art shit. I was like, you know what, like it's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is like putting my time for more creative things, things that might seem hard and challenging. And I think I've mentioned this before. It's like I bought this piano and I was always afraid to like do it because I know I would suck. Like I know I would just like off the rip, like I would just be really bad at it. So I've always been almost afraid to even start at it, like, and start at that base level. So instead I would distract myself in other ways. But on the ride over here, I was like, I'm going to fucking start doing music, bro. Like I'm like, this is my life. Like, why am I going to like shut off the parts of me that I know like want to grow, like want to be watered, because just to like distract myself with something else, So I'm going to be a fucking professional pianist.
Before you know, he's gonna come in with a chain on, like Betty. He's gonna get all fucking brand new. Like, Jesse Keys, Jesse, I can't make it, dude. I'm in the studio right now.
I need help.
Oh, okay.
I need help coming up with my DJ name though.
Okay, we'll help you out.
Might
do a whole podcast.
Maybe my Instagram handle. I'm not sure.
Lil
Crown, follow me,
Lil
homie.
Crown.
Lil Crown.
Got a real life Brock Mononov in the making right here, dude.
But yeah, dude, those things. I part of me doesn't want to grossly generalize, but I know everybody feels it. I know everybody has that thing. No one gets out of life unscathed, and we all have doubts.
Yeah,
we all have doubts, and those doubts, those seeds of doubt, were planted long before they grew into thoughts and beliefs. And I think for me, the reason I pay attention to them is because all the work that I do is based off of putting out a certain energy, and I have to be aware of that stuff. At least for me, it's like that's my hobby. My hobby is like, and not my hobby is like the meditation thing and exploring myself and exploring the causes and conditions. That gets me fired up, and like really understanding that about myself. It's like I'm doing a science experiment on myself. I get to dork out about it, and I analyze it. And I really believe that if I feel something, I'm not crazy, dude. Like I know other people are feeling it, and I wish we could all talk about it. And I want to ask other successful people, how they break through it, because everyone has seeds of doubt. Everyone has moments, especially when you're doing the stuff that like with me in the entrepreneurial space. The things that I'm doing, sometimes they don't make sense to people. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are like, what the fuck? Like, a book or this and that. People are like, what the fuck? Or who does he think he is? And they may not even be thinking that, but I think that. And if I, in my business, if I have those doubts, it affects the way I interact in business. So I have to be confident in what I'm doing. So I think that's why it shook me up so much this weekend, because I have to be steadfast in my message and my purpose. And when I'm not, I feel like I'm missing a beat each day, business wise, not financially. When I talk about business, I'm not talking about like how much money I make. I'm talking about like staying true to my message. If I feel like shit, it's taking me off my purpose, but also I'm supposed to allow myself to feel like shit and acknowledge. You create space for it. That's what I tell my clients to do, and I just have to do that to coach myself through those situations where it's like, okay, you feel this way, coach yourself through it. And now I talk to people, I do all the shit I'm supposed to do, but it's creating space for it and not judging it. And I think a lot of times, I know a lot of times people judge whatever space they're in at that time, and then it becomes like a cycle. Not only do you feel you have these seeds of doubt that have now become thoughts, and now that have become beliefs, and now you're dwelling on those thoughts and beliefs, and now it's a cycle. And now before you know it, it's been 2 weeks and you're in a funk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before you know it, this fucking thing snowballed. So it's a matter, and I said the same thing to Jesse yesterday. Okay, you feel like shit for a few days. What are we doing about it, dude? What happens next?
Well, I feel like it's interesting you said the cycle, because I feel like it's cyclical, and I don't know, this might just be my own thing, but I feel like I like have these, like I get in this like little area of like discomfort, and then I like have all these breakthroughs, and I start getting into action, and then I'm like life is fucking amazing, and like everything is going perfectly, and then like I inevitably always come back to like this like lower state of vibration, and then I like it's the same thing, and then I like, okay, time to fucking shift gears. It's like it's this weird like cyclical thing, and I'm like curious as to why that is that way. Like
those are the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah,
those are the ebbs and flows of life. Which thank you for saying that, because I had to hear that just now. That I was just in that season or just having a rainy couple of days. You know what I mean? I'm just having a couple of days of like it's a little cloudy today instead of fucking shining, because a lot of us, we just walking in fucking sunshine all the time, just all happy, And then, so for me, because I've been like that in that space for a little bit, when those like days like that hit me where I'm crying, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm supposed to be shining right now, dog. It's like, it's weird, man. But those are the ebbs and flows of life. We're not supposed to be. Life is not linear. It never will be. It never be a straight upward path. It's sometimes the peaks and valleys are really deep.
Like what you guys were talking about, Jesse and Benny, I can relate to your guys' experiences of fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, things along those lines. I think one of my biggest negative self-talk things in my life, it seems like they're all almost, you don't realize they're happening until you take a look at your life. Mine was the feeling of not being worthy of love. Like that was the big one for me, dude. That was the hugest one for me. Like I'd get in an unhappy relationship where I'd fucking hate it for 2 or 3 years, hate it, and I just stay. Stay because fuck it. I do shady, like I've done really shady shit, so I have to stay with them because like I'm never gonna be able to find anyone else. Like that was probably one of the most detrimental things for me was not being worthy of love. And along the things of what you guys said too of this cycle, for me it was always, I would always fuck it up. my dad would always tell me that too. Like, you're gonna fuck it up. Like, you always fuck everything
What
up.
does that do? What
And
does that do?
so now I'm always fucking everything up. Like, like not anymore, but like,
yeah.
and then I proved it. You know, like I'm out of the house and then I fuck it up again and then I fuck it up again and I fuck it up again. So for me, that was one of the biggest things is, and still sometimes I'm like, because I'm really good at my job. Like I had no idea I would be good at my job, and I hate saying that I'm good at things. I feel like it's ego, but I'm good at my job. So sometimes still today I'm like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm like,
there's been so many times when I've waited for the other shoe to drop and I
Yeah.
just fucking threw it up myself.
all
Yeah.
the time, all the time.
Like
I'm gonna
Bobby
fuck it up.
Shmurda, you throw up the hat, but it just never comes down. You know.
that not feeling worthy of love thing.
That's for men. So we had a couples, not a couples therapist, but a relationship guru, a pickup artist.
It's really a pickup.
No, not a pickup artist, but he works with men who are looking for relationships, and yeah, he's not a pickup artist, but
No.
but he works with men who are looking for relationships, and really that's what it comes down to. And I think it not only permeates in the relationships that we are trying to cultivate or we fail to cultivate, that feeling of inability to be loved or to love, that permeates in so many other aspects of men's lives, to in our work and in everywhere else. We'll over excel at certain things. Let's get money, let's get fucking, I want to be good at my job because you want to make money. Maybe someone will love you.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get what you need if you're successful enough. Maybe you'll get what you need if you have enough of this thing. And I think that stems from the inability to either and the lack of believing whether you deserve love or can give love.
Well, he said something that was really interesting. It was like something like the common theme was like, I don't feel like I have anything of worth to give this other person.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, it's just for men in general, but I think for men and women, or, just people, like we don't especially for us, like we don't feel like we have anything of worthy to put out or give. Like, especially for me, like I didn't feel like I was worthy of anything. Like when my birthdays would come around, I really when my birthdays come around now, at least like in these last 2 years, like I kind of want to celebrate them now. Like I'm a little stoked, not only because like I kept myself alive for another year. I think like being, doing this work, being in recovery, whatever. But the reason why I never wanted to celebrate them, and what I would tell people, what I would tell myself, and be like, well, who the fuck am I for anybody to celebrate my birthday? I ain't shit.
I still don't celebrate my birthday.
You should.
But
you get what I'm saying, though,
yeah,
right?
100%. I'm trying to talk about my sex addiction now on here, now that I'm like out of it, because I know I'm not the only fucking one, and it may look different for other people, but I think it's a thing. But me fucking around with a ton of people and sleeping with everybody I wanted to, is because I didn't feel like I deserved anything better. Like, I didn't think having a family was something I could do. When I was 21, I said this to my brother. I was like, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids. He was like, it's a very 21-year-old thing to fucking say. and I didn't get it, but I planted that seed then that I was like, I'm just going to do this forever. And this is all I felt I deserved, was to just fuck around and to meet people for 3 months and have fun and then, bounce apart. I didn't think I could have anything. I didn't believe I could have anything sustainable because, again, the shoe's going to drop. Eric's going to fuck it up. I'm only going to let me enjoy this for 3 months because I'm going to fuck it up. And it kept me from having the family and the life that I deserved. And I've always wanted. I remember I was high as fuck one time and I was talking to someone and I was like, dude, I need good friends and family. Like I just need good people around me. And I said that in the midst of like a blackout, and I remember that moment. And it really, what it came down to is that's what I do need. That's all for me. This whole year was, my focus has been to grow spiritually and meditate more and to focus on my friends and family. That is the foundation of my life right there. And everything I've been able to accomplish has been built off that foundation. And it's, when that's my foundation, you can take all the other stuff away. I still have this sense of security built upon my people, and that's now because I believe I deserve that. When I don't feel like that, I push everybody away. I use people. I'm manipulative. I perpetuate the story that I've been telling myself my entire life.
And for me, one of the big things that helped out with with feeling worthy of love and all that was like relationship with myself. I never had a relationship with myself. Like I never did things for me, took time for myself, treated myself with respect. So I didn't feel I deserved any of that. So for me, getting into a solid relationship with myself where I will take time for myself, I will present myself well, like I will do these things, it's really made a big impact in me for how I show up in the world and how I feel about all this negative self-talk and things. It's made a really huge impact, like having a relationship with myself.
Yeah. How do you, well, you know, we're very lucky to be able to do that because I have my friends back home. I feel like they don't have the time, man. When you live in a city, like when you live in New York, man, it almost seems like there's no time to do anything but work, man. And that's I don't know, but
it's kind of feeling the same here in San Diego too, though.
Does it?
Yeah.
You got to, I don't know, man. But you know, I'm so fucking crazy that like that's why I feel like I take so much time and so much pride in doing that because I say this often. I don't naturally do the right thing. I do. Yeah. I always make the wrong choice. So for me, it's like I just gotta I gotta focus on it. You know.
Yeah, like I'm jealous of my wife that she's just naturally a good person.
Yeah, my partner
must
too.
be so nice. I have to work to be a good person, a decent human being.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we all just damaged and fucked up?
Everybody is.
Yeah, we all are, but I think some of us have a higher extent of it.
Yeah, because it's like when I'm just like analyzing like what's going on in people's relationships and shit, I'm like, dude, we're all fucked up, bro. Like, is everyone just fucked up, or is it just my perspective of like everyone being fucked up?
No, everyone is fucked up, and that's why I really make a point to speak about this because everyone knows desperation. Everyone knows feeling like shit. Everyone knows, you know, negative self-talk. Everyone knows the imposter syndrome. Everyone knows that, you know, but we just don't speak about it. We don't speak about it because for whatever reason, but the damage that does when we have kids, that's what motivates me now is like, if I don't work on my stuff now, I'm just going to project it on the little humans around me. And then they're going to have the same gross thing that I had. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to miss out on relationships. And they're going to miss out on joy. And they're going to have, you know, go through some unnecessary emotional bumps. And them experiencing that is direct correlation between the way I interface with them. And that means is direct correlation with the way I interface with myself, right? So that's what keeps me like hyper vigilant. And my partner, I say the same to her. I'm like, we have cycles in both of our families that need to stop, that we both don't like. Everyone has stuff, no matter how great your parents are. Everyone has stuff from their childhood that's like, oh, I hated that, you know. So unless you consciously choose to say I'm not doing this anymore, then you're gonna just do the same thing. And you know what sucks? Like with my dad, I love my dad to death, but I'm like, fuck, man, I'm just the same person. I'm the same fucking person. And there's certain stuff the stuff I love about him, and then there's certain stuff I don't want. I want that to end with me. You know, so everyone's fucked up, man. Everyone's fucked up. We just got to be conscious.
Well, when you mention like even if you have great parents, so like I want to do like a thought experiment. Like, let's say you're quote unquote like the perfect parent to a child. Like, still, I feel like there would be issues with just being a human being and like being in the world. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could like really fully, let's say, prevent like someone from experiencing turmoil as a young adult. You know
I don't think I'm gonna prevent it. I don't think I'm gonna prevent them experiencing that. I know for a fact that they're gonna experience their troubles, and you can't. No one gets out of this life unscathed. I'm not gonna protect them from certain things, but intimacy issues. My kids, like there's parents who don't hug their children and kiss their children or won't be affectionate with their kids. There's parents who are like that, you know, and that translate as adults. Truly translates as adults. I couldn't connect with men. Jesse and Benny both know I couldn't connect with men because of my relationship with my dad. But not connecting with men and only connecting with women led me down a cycle of something else that wasn't working for me. So, and other people have that correlation too. Other people have intimacy issues too, and that stem from their childhood. Even if you so you can't protect your kids, but like the emotional stuff. I believe that if I raise decently emotionally healthy children, that it's gonna help them cope and handle certain experiences. If I speak to them honestly and don't hover over them but I'm real with them, I think the entitlement that I have in this millennial like cupcake shit that we have, they won't have that, or there's little things that I just want to get better, prepare them emotionally for the world, because you get your ass kicked. It's like tough place out here.
I saw this funny meme today. You mentioned millennials. I don't want to like throw it off, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Just throw it off.
It was this funny meme. It's about Monopoly. It says Monopoly for millennials, and it says, in this fun new twist on Monopoly, all the properties are already owned. You just go around the board paying rent forever. You start with $1,500 owed to the bank. Nobody wins.
Yeah. We don't have the greatest deal. We don't have the greatest deal, but I don't want my kids to have the blatant entitlement that a lot of us have, which I do think millennial entitlement's decent in the sense that my parents would always say, my siblings and I, we feel we deserve better in life. Not in the sense that like I try to walk in a sense of power where it's like, yeah, there's favor over my life. I deserve to have a life of abundance. I believe that I should have a life where I'm growing. I should be compensated for what I'm worth. I believe that about myself, and so I think there's a level of that in entitlement that's good for you and it's powerful. But I think there's also a level of entitlement with millennials that makes us soft as shit as well. And I don't know. It's a hard balance, man. I ain't got shit figured out. I'm just talking shit.
Fucking baby boomers, dude.
Yeah.
You got some stuff figured out. That's that story you're telling yourself. It sounds good.
Well, that was me quieting my shit down for a second.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's the baby boomers' fault. Just blame it all on the baby boomers.
Just blame it on the people who came before.
Yeah,
us,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did this comedian says? This comedian talks about global warming, and he talks about how people are going to be upset. How we're leaving this for our children. We're ruining the environment for our kids. And he's like, none of us are walking around telling our grandparents, "Why'd you smoke on planes? Where'd you think that smoke was going? You threw that trash down there." Like no one yelling at their grandparents for it.
Yeah.
We should be.
We should though, right? We should be yelling at our grandparents.
We should hold them all accountable.
Yeah,
that's really what needs to happen if we want to see any real change.
But
I'm kind of kidding, actually.
But yeah, dude, I just I work. I just want to be better, man. I want to be better, and when I'm telling
you are better, bro.
But it's perpetual growth is my goal. It's
yes.
I want to always be. I never want to just say this is the way I am. That's lazy to me.
Yeah.
I want to a year from now. I want like 3 months from now. I want something figured out, and then I'll be like, what am I figuring out next? Like what layer can be peeled back next? Because it all just makes me more. It just makes me a better person. The more self-aware I am, and I don't want to ever walk around with the delusion I spent enough time in a fake version, like a fake reality. And I just want to be fully grounded in reality.
Yeah, man. The awesome thing about like this, a lot of this topic was like, for me, like sharing how it was, and now how it is so drastically different. But it took work, right? It's not easy to break those things, and they creep up every once in a while. But the results of that is that like it gives me the courage to face like new adventures, like you were saying, like with your piano. You want to get back into the piano, like into this podcasting, or into opening myself up to produce other podcasts, right? To take on new ventures. To start boxing, it wasn't easy to walk into a class by yourself.
He's fighting for the heavyweight title in
next
2021.
Benito Torres,
yeah.
Look out for him.
Yeah, next year, I'm training. I'm coming.
He said he's opening up a gym too. He said he's gonna start taking clients.
He doesn't want 1 belt. He wants 4 belts.
Yeah,
I want all the belts that were ever made.
All of the fucking sudden.
But But these are the rewards, right? This is the fruit of my labor. It's like we get to now really open ourselves, and you discover more and you grow more. And I always compare it to like it's I think of it as a program of consciousness. You know, when you come into this and you start working on yourself, it's like you're asleep, and the more and more you wake up and you learn and you realize, and like, dude, it all opens up to you. How much do you want to open it up, you know?
I really like that. And something just clicked for me as Benny was talking, and it had to go back to what
My phone
Never
went off
fails,
again.
dude.
My phone goes off
every
podcast.
fucking time I'm about to drop some bars. Eric's phone. No, I'm just kidding.
Super professional, bro.
Fucking about entitlement, right? You're saying that like, oh, well, you know, millennials we're just entitled or whatever. But I think there's a difference between being entitled or having worth, like having self-worth.
Mm.
You know, because like it might come off as entitlement, but in certain cases it could be just like, no, like I'm worthy of this. Like we're worthy of this as a population. We're worthy of this as a society.
Facts.
So it's not necessarily entitlement. And it's something that I constantly have to remind myself. Like sometimes I'm in low vibration energy, and like I'm not looking at people. I'm looking down, or you know, I'm not like smiling. And then I'm just like, yo, bro, you're worthy. You know what I mean? Like just that by itself, it's like, okay, like it just like switches it. You know what I mean?
Really quick, I think the influence of social media, you kind of have to tell yourself that. You know, you kind of, if you're on social media and you're watching everybody's highlight reel, you know, you have to kind of tell yourself that you're okay. I think that may not be anybody in here's particular like issue, but I feel like a lot of people coming up are you know, so many people our age think we're supposed to be rich in our 20s. Because they're comparing because they're comparing
Because Mark Zuckerberg or some
because
shit.
they're comparing themselves to people on social media who are selling tummy tea and selling supplements and getting rich off of quick things, which it's cool that you can review toys and make millions of dollars. That's dope. Like, cool. Anybody get your money. But in reality, you make your money as you get older and as you develop as a human being and a better worker. That's how you grow financially. So I think it's, you know, for a lot of people, it's important to say, yeah, I'm worthy. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. You know, Jay-Z just became the first billionaire rapper. He didn't pop his shit. He didn't start his label until he was 27. And he didn't become a billionaire until he's 46. You know, so this idea that we're supposed to be rich in our 20s because you see, what's the makeup guy? He's making $10 million a year. That's not real life. That's this weird phenomena that we live in now. But that's not like the reality for most people.
It's not the standard.
It's not the standard, you know. And I think it's important to, with the influence of social media and that our avatar is there, you have to like continue to ground yourself and be like, dude, I am worthy. I am good. You know, I you know what I mean?
That's such a hard thing to like for me, especially to tiptoe around the idea of entitlement versus worthy. That's a hard thing because like I'm like so used to not feeling worthy, or it's like, oh, I'm just entitled if I feel the need to have rights or like feel the need to be treated well at work. And now I'm at a place where sometimes I come off as entitled, but really I want to stand for myself and stand for everyone else that works with me so I can improve our lives, you know?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, man. So you want to set an intention or put something out there for us, Travis?
Yeah, man. I think that is something I'd like to throw into the podcast, just like a weekly intention, because a lot of weeks I just go through it and just get to the end of the week and realize, oh, wow, I had no intention. I was kind of just lifelessly walking through.
Subconscious programming.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I had an intention for this week, it would probably be, I want to be more connected. I want to be more connected to my friends, my family, my coworkers, everywhere in my life. And I want to be more loving and vulnerable because I'm so good at closing myself off and not getting uncomfortable. And I think for me, one way that I'm going to do that, I don't know if you guys are down. One way that I'm going to do that every day, I'm going to send someone a video acknowledgement on my phone. Because
that's
shit
fucking sick, dude.
takes
That's
some
so
serious
good.
like courage for me to like get on my phone, open the text, video, and like straight up talk to them and tell them what they mean to me.
Wow.
And then send it.
It's powerful.
And
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude,
The
I'm
step-
so down for
the-
that challenge right now.
The step in my book I talked about today, I made a video about is being intention, you know, and that, like, for me, when I was struggling in the space that I was in that program for myself, and I had to say, this is who I want to be today. I want to be more compassionate today. So every day I try to set an intention. That's where I do that in my meditation often, is I'm like, this is who I want to be today. So, and I always want to encourage people, set an intention, because we so often just wake up like the fucking Manchurian Candidate and we're just walking through life, just doing shit. And are we really taking time to do things with purpose and meaning?
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Where can we find that book, dude? I don't know. I heard it was a pretty cool book.
Look up
I
seven.
was just about to ask if you to plug all this stuff.
Let me plug some stuff.
Yeah.
Look up 7 Steps Setting Intention for Your Health, Wellness, and Mindset. Just type in 7 Steps on Amazon, and my book will come up there. You can go to my website, bigmoodcoach.com. My Instagram is @Big_BigMoodCoach. Our podcast Instagram is _HeartsOver. _ I think.
Yeah. And check out the Hearts and Minds Collective podcast that we also do. Like I said, we have the Mike Murray and Rich Williams episode up, and we have a few more lined up. We have like 2 other ones lined up, ready to drop.
Dropping every Monday. So we drop Hearts and Minds Monday. Hearts Over Everything goes on Wednesdays on iTunes. Then Hearts Over Everything goes on YouTube on Fridays or Saturdays. So every couple of days, we're dropping, content. So
Big mood, homie.
Big
mood.
Let me talk about that really quick. So people have been asking me, like, what's the big mood about? And really what it comes down to, everybody knows that phrase, right? That's a popular phrase. But you know what it comes down to? Everything I'm trying to do, like everything I want to do, it's a vibe, bro. It's a mood it's the mood I'm in. I'm in a love and fucking tolerance and peaceful ass space. So that's exactly what we're trying to do, is just keep that mood.
Exactly.
I fucking love that, man.
Anyway. Big mood, baby.
All right, we out.
Check it out,
man. Thank you very much.
Later, guys.
Later.